Previously on the advent of cyber. Alf Recon McRed identified a URL, qa.santagif.shop. The website has been pulled down for maintenance and now Recon McRed is scanning the server to see how it's been compromised. Alf Recon McRed ran Mmap and Nikto tools against the QA server to find the list of open ports and vulnerabilities. And now you can see the results are in. On port 22 we have OpenSSH smb.// and I believe it was 10.10.159.29. So the username is Ubuntu. Who cares? But you can see we are now able to retrieve the flag. Let's have a look at the user list. Hello world and welcome to Hacks. In this video we are continuing the advent of cyber on TryHackMe. It is day 5 and we're looking at brute forcing. He knows when you're awake, so be good for goodness sake. The story. Alf McSkiddy asked Alf Recon McRed to search for any backdoor that the Bandit Yeti APT might have installed. If any such backdoor is found, we could learn that the bad guys might be using it to access the systems on Santa's network. The learning objectives of this room are to learn about common remote access services, recognize a listening VNC port in a port scan, use a tool to find the VNC server's password, connect to the VNC server using a VNC client. Remote access services. They are exactly what they say they are. They are services that allow you to access machines remotely. We've got SSH, RDP, VNC. SSH is commonly found in Linux or Unix environments and it allows you to connect to your machine over a secured encrypted connection. Normally gives you only terminal access unless you do some sort of X11 forwarding back to you, but it's very good for accessing a CLI which allows you to manage a server. RDP, or Remote Desktop Protocol, is a fully interactive graphical user interface that allows you to connect to a remote machine and it will present the desktop to you. It's more commonly found on Windows environments, however there are clients for Linux and Mac operating systems, and it's a way to provide you access to the desktop so you can interact with it using your keyboard and mouse as you would as though you were directly in front of the machine. VNC, or Virtual Network Computing, is very similar to the Remote Desktop Protocol in that it provides a full-fledged graphical user interface for you to interact with. So you can set up a VNC server on your server, have it listening on a port, and then you get a VNC client and connect to it, and it will provide you access to the desktop as though you were sat in front of the machine yourself. As these are remotely accessible services, it's important that authentication is in place to stop threat actors accessing them without authorization. Authentication can be broken down to a number of different categories, like something you know, which would refer to a password or a PIN, something you have, which could be like a hardware USB security key or a mobile phone for two-factor authentication, and something you are. This could be something like biometrics, like fingerprints or retinal scans. In my opinion, all these authentication methods still have weaknesses. You only need to watch Demolition Man. It's the scene with the eyeball, you know what I'm on about, to know that biometrics are not perfectly secure. We most commonly use passwords to authenticate to things, and there are a lot of different password attacks. For instance, there's shoulder surfing, where you just lean over the victim who you want to steal the password from and you watch them type their password in. There's password guessing, where you could use information about the target, whether you gather it from open source intelligence like their social media profile, or you know their pet's name or their favourite football team, and you use that information to guess their password. And then there's a dictionary attack, where it sort of expands on the guessing attack. You can absolutely use bespoke word lists, or you can download pre-compiled word lists like RockU, and what this will do is this will loop through a dictionary, so to speak, of words attempting to authenticate to a target machine until it gets the correct password. And then you have a brute force attack. This is the most time-consuming type of attack, and it will just go through and try AAA, or AB, ABC, until it gets the correct password. Again, this could take forever. Hacking authentication services. There are a lot of different tools out there that can perform password brute force attacks or password guessing attack. The one this room is focusing on is Hydra. There's also Medusa. Mmap has a bunch of scripts that can do it. Even vulnerability assessment software like Nessus, Tenable Nessus, has the option to try and brute force passwords. This is a very common attack in cybersecurity, and it's probably one of the most common common ways that threat actors gain access to systems is by breaking weak passwords. So you can see on the page we have some Hydra syntax: -L for the username, L if you want to use it as a variable, -P for the password, or -P if you want to use it as a variable and supply a word list. Then you have other options like -F, which will stop upon the first correct guess, and then you specify the protocol followed by the IP address. There are also other markers as well, like if you put a V, then it will show you every guess attempt that it makes. If you don't put the verbosity in, then you won't see the actual password guess that it's doing. Very cool if you want to look like a pro hacker and you've got your terminal set up all green, and then you can show you're doing a brute force attack against a server and all the text is scrolling down your screen. So moving on, it does look like we have been given a username of Alexander, and we are now needing to brute force our way into a VNC server and then using Remina to connect to it. So I have deployed the attack box and I've deployed the target, which is 10.10.90.69. Very nice. So we're just going to fire at the terminal. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to mmap the box just to find out what port. mmap -SV -P0 for all ports, and then I'm going to do 10.10.90.69. I'm going to let that run. I took the all ports flag off, didn't feel like it was needed. VNC was bound to be in the top 1,000 ports and it was just going to take too long, and as you can see, we've got port 22 open, SSH open, and we've got port 5900 TCP VNC. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to attempt to connect to the VNC server straight away. Just click cancel on the keyring, and then I'm going to select VNC and I'm going to put in the IP 10.10.90.69, and you can see that it's just asking for a password, so there's no username, which is going to help us with our attack later on when we guess the password with Hydra. So I'm just going to close that for a second, and I'm next going to locate the rocku.txt word list. It should be in user share word list. Okay, so let's try to brute force the VNC server using the Hydra. So we're just going to go Hydra -P for the word list, and then we're going to do user share word list rocku.txt, and then we're going to do vnc://10.10.90.69, and then we're going to do an uppercase V for verbosity, and then we're going to do an F to say stop on the first login, and then we're going to do -T4. We're going to let that run and we're going to see what happens. Okay, that may have took a while, but we finally have a successful password of 1Q2W3E4R. Fantastic. So then if we go to Applications, Internet and Remina, we can cancel the keyring, and then we set it to VNC. We can do 10.10.90.69, and then we should be able to enter the password now of 1Q2W3E4R. Then if we click connect, hopefully we get something. I wonder if the color settings are not configured properly and whether it's being a bit funny. Let's try and... Okay, so I had to redeploy the box. I think the brute force attack made it a bit poorly, potentially tied up a few resources and the screen just wasn't loading. But upon authenticating, you reach the server and you are given like a sort of Bitcoin, crypto, and you get a key, THM I see in your screen. And yeah, you can browse around, see what's going on. But if we just come over here, we can submit the flag. I'm not even sure if I submitted the first flag. What was the password? Okay, so the password was 1Q2W3E4R. If we just submit that, that should be fine. And then we do THM open bracket I see your screen. If we submit that, that's fantastic, and that's us done. We have now completed the room. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you if you were struggling, but that video at the top of the page is great, so I'm sure you weren't. Tune in tomorrow when we're going to do the next room, and kind regards.